This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hey, feline friends, this is Michelle Fern. Welcome to Cattitude. Do you ever wonder what makes your cat tick? I mean, really makes your cat tick. I do all the time. My crew perplexes me and drives me nuts because I just wonder. Anyways, I have a great show coming up because I'm going to tell you how you can find out all about your kitty and learn something very important about your kitty's health. We're going to be right back.
Has your pet ever suffered from digestive issues, anxiety, or joint pain? We want to address these issues and more with high-grade CBD oil from Alpha, made specifically for your furry friends. Using Alaskan salmon oil as a carrier, Alpha Pet's 500 CBD oil is lab-tested for quality, consistency, and safety. Plus, we are giving Pet Life Radio listeners 25% off and free shipping with code PL25 for a limited time. So visit myalphacbd.com/dogs now. That's myalphacbd.com/dogs. Because your furry friends are family.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce Anna Skaya. She is the CEO of Base Paws, which is a cat DNA kit. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I was talking about what makes my cat tick, and of course, then you think about what they're made up of, just like, what we're made up of as, humans. What exactly does Base Paws do? When I say a cat DNA kit, what is that?
Sure. So Base Paws is a DNA test for your kitty. And the simplest way to think about this is 23andMeow. You're all familiar with 23andMe or Ancestry.com. What is that? It is a DNA test for ourselves, humans. You spit into a test tube, you send that to a laboratory, and in 6 weeks you get a report. That report tells you if you have genes from maybe England, or if you have some ancestry from North Africa. Very interesting stuff. And it has information about your health, whether or not you are a carrier for a specific genetic disease. Well, cats are no different than people. We can do very similar genetic discoveries and reporting on cats. That is exactly what Base Paws is all about. We can tell you in a single report information about your cat's breeds, which is kind of like learning about your own ancestry. So we can tell you if your mixed breed kitty has information in it that is similar to maybe a Persian or a Siamese, and it has traits that it shares with a Maine Coon. And when you adopted your kitty from a shelter, this is such cool stuff to know. But of course, there's actionable items as well, same as with your own 23andMe. You can find out if your kitty has genetic markers for disease, which are very, very important to know, that you can take that and work with your vet to make sure that you can prepare yourself if there's markers in there that are very life-threatening.
Okay, so let's talk about kitties. So many of us are adopting or I guess becoming chosen by kitties that are out there on the streets these days. And there's such a big push on adopt, own, shop, and shelter kitties. So many of us are growing our feline family that way. And there's such a mix of cats. I think there's a huge percentage of mixed breeds of cats, much more so than their canine friends.
Much more.
And
correct.
On Base Paws, there's such great information. You break down the breed groups to Western, Eastern, Exotic, and Persian, and you're even able to tell like where your cat comes from, whether it's a tiger or cheetah, what their percentage is. How do you do that?
Right. Oh, what a great question. So let's talk about the breed groups. First of all, I really want to emphasize exactly what you just said. We really, really care about celebrating the mixed breed kitty. Although, of course, we support every cat out there. And if you have a purebred, that's awesome. We love all cats, but we really want to celebrate the mutt. And celebrating the mutt is really what we stand for. We believe that every kitty is special. And if you've adopted a cat that is a domestic shorthair, if you've adopted a cat that is not a pedigree cat, there is still something incredibly unique and special about those cats. And because you can now do a DNA test, you can now find out what breeds make up your mixed breed cat, which is not something you could have ever done before. With a base pause test, you can now find out if your mixed breed cat is closer to a Maine Coon or has some similarities to a Persian or some similarities to a Siamese. It is so interesting to know which breeds are similar to our mixed breed cats because it really gives them, it's like peeling back an onion and really, really understanding, these cats, like I have a cat that I rescued from a shelter, it sleeps in my bed, it eats my food sometimes, it plays with my friends. It's such a part of my life. And until I was able to find out more about it through DNA testing, I didn't know anything about it. And now I got this report back and it tells me it's partially Maine Coon and it's closer to this breed than this breed. And it has really given me joy to know something about my adopted animal. And it's really something that has provided me with an extra bit of bonding. And this is really what we stand for. We really want to help the pet parent bond closer to their pet. The way that I see base pause in the future is that every pet that is rescued from a shelter needs to form as much as possible a bond with their pet parent. And that bond will become so much stronger the more we know about each other. And the more you know about your cat, the more you understand them, the better that bond is. DNA testing provides that glue, that extra bond, especially when we can go deeper on the breeds. So the question was, how do you know about these breeds? It took us 2 years of collecting a database, of reaching out to breeders from all over the world. We probably have one of the best databases of purebred cats that exists right now in the world. When your cat's DNA comes into our lab, it gets compared to 60 different breeds, and we're constantly adding breeds into our database. We have about 25 breeds right now, and we're going to be adding more and more and more until we get to this 60 breeds so that we can really tell you what breeds make up your cat.
Let me ask you something quickly.
Yes.
With the different breeds, there's so many strays. Now you can see, a cat out there, that's out. One of my outdoor cats is a TNR, and she's like a tabby cat, but that's just a type of, that's not a breed. Within that tabby, there might be like Siamese or other kinds. So, the names we call like the torties and tuxedos and those aren't breeds. Those are just, I guess, names, characteristics or something.
Characteristics, yes. Breeds are something that we as humans have made up ourselves. And cat breeds only go back about 150 years. Dog breeds, some say dog breeds go back thousands and thousands of years. So cat breeds cats really didn't become domesticated until not long ago at all. Before that, cats just, bred themselves and behaved themselves. And it wasn't until about 150 years ago that we started to breed cats into breeds. So cat breeds are kind of a new phenomena. And the strays that are out there, they are still closer to some breeds that are out there than others. And as pet parents, when we understand that our quote-unquote stray shares a lot of characteristics with a British Shorthair, that is really exciting, interesting, innovative information for us because a British Shorthair, for example, has specific health issues that our stray could also be susceptible to. We just didn't know until we know. So there's a lot of value in knowing this information.
And then obviously, just because your cat looks like you might have a cat that looks like a tabby cat, but it could be a high percentage of British short hair, which doesn't look like anything like,
Sure.
right?
Genetics is so interesting. It's so unique. Your cat can look one thing, but its DNA can tell you something completely different. And the big value of doing a DNA test is that the test will continue to update itself for the life of your kitty. And as it continues to update, your report tells you more and more about your cat. So as our panel of purebred cats grows, our understanding about your cat also continues to grow, which is so unique. We've coined a new term that we really hope people can start using. The term is polycat. A polycat is, it goes along with our whole idea of, we are super thrilled to be able to celebrate the mutt. We understand that 95% of all cats in the world are mixed breed cats. And we want the pet parents of these mixed breed cats to understand that every mixed breed cat is different and unique in its own way. And it's with DNA that you can understand that this mixed breed cat is closer to an Oriental short hair, but this one is closer to a Burman, and this one's closer to a Russian blue. And look at its DNA. We can tell you how it's closer. And look at this trait. Your cat has a gene for this particular marker. And look, its sibling from the same litter does not have that trait. And isn't DNA amazing?
Right. And its sibling might not have that trait because females can be impregnated by two different males. Or maybe three, I don't know. That too. Oh, cat science, it's just so cool. And as cat parents, I know a lot of cat owners love learning this stuff. And this is kind of what BasePaws also stands for. We share a lot of this information through our blogs and a lot of our videos. There's just so much cool stuff about cats. Well, I love the term polycat because, one, it's easier to say than mixed breed cats, or might be this or might be that or whatever. And it's different than just because mutts are so much associated with dogs,
Right.
So polycat,
right.
Very cool. What about the wildcat index? That, I think, is mind-boggling.
Right. So what we've done is that we had a chance to get our hands on wildcats. Currently, we have about 8 in our database. We're constantly adding, and we're working with zoos. We've reached out to San Diego Zoo. We've worked with them. We're actually reaching out to zoos all around the world, and we're saying we would love to sequence the wildcats you have in your database, and we would love to see which of our cats are more like some of these wildcats than others. And for comparison, 23andMe has something called the Neanderthal Index. And what it does is that it lines up the millions of people that it has in its database. And it says, compared to each other, some of these people have a little bit more Neanderthal in them than others. And it's a really fun index. We do something very similar for wildcats. So we have these 8 different wildcats, and we're going to add more and more. We're lining up all of our cats, and we're saying some of our cats are a little bit more tiger, and some of our cats are a little bit more cougar, and some of our cats are a little bit more leopard. And as we get more and more cats in our database, this will average out a bit more. We're going to add percentages. We're hoping to use these really fun tools to encourage conversation, to encourage dialogue, to encourage excitement around felines. It is such a shame that cats are understudied, underfunded, kind of underrepresented when it comes to even companies that are out there for, when you look at just pet companies out there, I read the statistic that something like 80% of all pet companies are either dog focused or dog and cat focused, with the dog leading. There's very few companies that are just for cats. And so BasePaws wants to be a place where you go to learn, to understand, to really get excited about all things cat.
And what you just said about that cats are underrepresented, I definitely see that at the trade shows. And what's really crazy is that there's actually, while there is a larger percentage of households that have dogs, pet parents have more cats. And that's because most cat households or feline households have 2 or more. It's not uncommon someone to say, I have 2, I have 3, I have 4 cats. You don't usually have 2 and 3 and 4 dogs.
Right. We as cat parents just aren't as, vocal. You can't find us in the dog park. We're not sitting at a Starbucks with our cat on our leash. So we get a little bit forgotten when it comes to companies trying to vie for our attention. And it's a shame because, our pets are great and our needs are great. So this is a part of what we're trying to establish. And the Wildcat Index, we're trying to show to our pet parents how exciting it is to own a cat, how cool it is to be compared to some of these wild cats, how interesting it is. So one of the things we're soon going to be rolling out, probably by the end of this year, you'll be able to see if any of the cats in our database are related to your cat. Again, very similar to how if you've done Ancestry.com or 23andMe, you can see if you have a cousin that you maybe didn't know about or a brother that you didn't know about. So it's very similar. We get this question all the time. I have a cat, but I want to know if my neighbor has a cat that looks very similar. Are they related? Are they brothers? That question is our number one asked question, and no one can really answer that question. No one really knows if these two cats are related. We're going to introduce that. And I'm telling you, people love this kind of stuff. Keeping customers and keeping pet parents engaged around these fun tools around cats and keeping the conversation going around cats, that's what we're all about.
We're going to be right back after this break. Hair everywhere. How do you manage your cat's hair, hairballs, and dander when they're not really fond of bathing? The answer is just a whisker away with catnip bath wipes from Whitegate. It's the only cat wipe on the market that's infused with natural catnip oil. Catnip bath wipes will leave your cat happy, calm, and playful, and you'll both look forward to bath time. Go to whitegateinc.com, that's WHYTEGATEINC.com, and enter the code CATNIP for 15% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's right, 15% off. We're not kidding.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Anna Skaya, and she is the CEO of BasePaws, and we talked about a lot of great, cool things that BasePaw is doing and is doing for the future, and how you can learn just so much about the genetic makeup of your cats. I think this is sort of new, right? That you're doing health markers in the DNA testing as well. What are health markers?
Sure. So this is very much new, brand new. We're launching it over the next few weeks. I want to talk about the fact that there's markers that are very, very common, especially markers that we've probably all heard about for disease like HCM, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So HCM is a very common feline health disease, heart disease. So I think the number is something like 15% of all cats might suffer from it. And, HCM for me personally is a really important disease because we've recently lost a cat here in our office to this disease. And so we've been personally extra focused on this marker and making sure that cats all around the world benefit from this report. So it was the first health marker that we released just a few weeks ago. And we think this is so important for every cat out there to go out and get tested for HCM, because when you have awareness that your cat has a marker for HCM, there's so much that you can do with your veterinarian to make sure that you provide your cat with the best possible life when you have a diagnosis. I'll give you an example. We have a cat that is a celebrity cat, an internet celebrity cat with a huge following, who got tested for HCM, that got diagnosed with a marker for HCM. His vet did not know this. The owner did not know this. And BasePaws found out that he had a marker for HCM. This kitty is now a huge advocate for HCM research, and the owner is a huge advocate for BasePaws. This is really what we stand for. So it's testing for those types of disease that is really, really important. And I think that, this type of test is really inexpensive if you compare this to your regular veterinary visit. And because this includes both the breed information and the health marker information, this test is only $99. You get to learn so much, and it's so effective if you learn something new. I mean, This can prevent you from so many vet bills later on in life if you can just make this one kind of awareness step right now.
Okay, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of your kitty. And I don't know who your celebrity cat is, but for example, Grumpy Cat just passed away not that long ago from respiratory issues. And it could have been because I know some of it had to do probably with the type of cat, because I'm guessing, I know dogs with smushed in faces, and Grumpy Cat had like that little, there's probably a better term for it, but the little smushed in face, they're prone to respiratory. But if Grumpy Cat maybe had done the base paws DNA test, there could have been findings that there was issues with respiratory problems, right? A respiratory marker?
Grumpy Cat died because of, that's something that was wrong with the respiratory issues. So Grumpy Cat had a lot of very interesting genetics, very, very unique genetics. I mean, that's what made her so unique. But it wasn't something that we could have predicted beforehand. What is so unique about Grumpy was the fact that Grumpy was born as a dwarf. I mean, it was born as a kitty that probably wasn't going to live very long because it was just a very unique kitty that, unfortunately, from the very beginning, I'm sure the owners knew it wasn't going to have a full life because of its onset of genetic problems from the very beginning. So genetically, it had a lot of issues. Very interesting genetic case. But it wasn't something that we as our test could have predicted and could have helped. Our test is really better for a kitty that looks healthy, that you really wouldn't know anything was wrong. But the disease that we study are the disease that are like the silent killers, like HCN, PKD, the stuff that you really couldn't see, but the stuff that develops later on in life and the stuff that really can be horrible for a kitty later on in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does someone do the base paws test? How would they get started?
Sure. So let's talk about how it works. We say that a cat's health is shaped by three main factors. And I always say this. It's what you feed your kitty, so it's nutrition, it's environment and how the kitty behaves and how you make sure that the kitty behaves well, and it's genetics. Those are the three things that really matter for a really healthy life. And we really want to make sure that we give all three to the kitty. The first two, most pet parents do a really good job at. And the third, most of us don't have a clue about. Because a company like Base Paws didn't exist. Because it's really hard to do what we're doing. And the only way for us to do our job well is to have more and more samples coming into our database, because it's called the network effect. Every sample that comes in helps every other sample learn more about itself. Every cat that comes in helps every other cat. So I want to start with that because that's kind of the power of what we're building. With every new sample, we learn just a little bit more about cats, and that knowledge helps every cat in our database learn more about itself. Ultimately, the goal of Base Paws is to eradicate genetic disease. The more we know about which markers code for which disease, the more we can start shaping the way that cats evolve to eradicate these diseases out. So how do you participate? How do you get involved in this? You go on our website and you purchase a kit. You purchase this box that we send to you. Inside of the box is a very easy to use swab. A lot of pet parents, for lack of a better word, freak out by the simple idea of sticking something in their kitty's mouth.
Yep. Of my three that are indoors, I can think of only one that might work with, but maybe two. So how would you do the swab? What are some tips?
Sure. I would start with misdirection. But in all honesty, so we used to do a similar type of test by using fur. We've recently switched to swab because the swab that we use is so good. When we need so little DNA, all that we require of you is to take that swab and you can even just whisk it across their mouth. You can stick it in just once. We say on our box to please do it about 2 or 3 seconds. We've had people that have done it for a second and it's worked fine. That swab is that sensitive. So you put that swab in your cat's mouth for a second. I'm not exaggerating. A second would work well.
What if they just licked it?
Yep, that's perfect.
Oh, that's okay.
perfect.
That's easy because, most pet parents of cats to open up your cat's mouth and put, some people could brush their cat's teeth, but
I know. I am amazed by those stories.
Yes.
I'm amazed by those stories. So it's very easy. So you take the swab, you stick it in their mouth for a second, or you brush it across their mouth. You can even touch their teeth. You can stick it in their cheek, just something to get a little bit of their DNA on there. That swab is like a little vacuum. It just sucks out the DNA as quickly as you put it up to next to their cat's mouth. You put the DNA back into that same box and you send it off to us. Our laboratory is here in Los Angeles. I'm sitting here in our laboratory, and we get the sample in our lab. We notify you of every step that we take once we get the sample in. So we'll let you know that we got it, we're working on it, it's being sequenced, it's being processed, and we'll let you know when it's in our possession to send to you. And you will see it in your account on our webpage. You have your own account, and you will log in, and you will, in 6 weeks, have a report for your cat's DNA test. It's your first report. Very exciting. 6 weeks in. But it's just your first report. You will get subsequent updates. As we learn more about cats, you learn more about your cat, which is so cool because in 6 months, in 1 year, we'll tell you, hey, we just found out there's new marker for this disease that no one knew about before. But because we got an extra 10,000 cats to participate, we just found out about this really interesting new marker. And look, your cat does or does not have it. So that's the cool part.
Do you pay for the next report and the next report?
No, you pay only once, but I'm making a big caveat here. You pay only once until the end of this year. Starting the 1st of 2020, we are ending the program of no additional payments, and we're rolling out a new way where we will charge for this, because we believe that at 2020 we will have enough data so that we can make these initial discoveries already on the data that we have. And then starting from 2020, we will be charging for additional updates. But because we need samples now, and these are our early adopter kitties, everyone that participates from now on until the end of the year, forever gets updates for free. So it is very
That's
cool.
Great.
It is super great. These are our early adopters, our citizen kitties, our citizen scientist kitties that are coming in and really leading the way. All from next year, of course, everyone will still be a part and the database will grow and everyone will still be helping, but we will not have free updates. It will be updates, but there will be a cost.
Okay, wonderful. And so all anyone has to do, go to basepaws.com and go ahead and purchase the kit and have it sent to you. It gets mailed back and they get the report and then all the data. Now, once they get all the data, that information it's pretty detailed, but it's also explained pretty thoroughly. That my background is not in science at all. I mean, a little, but not much. And it's very easy to understand, very thorough. It's a great report.
Yes, it's something that we're really, really excited about. And I guarantee you by the end of this year, it's going to look even better.
And we also, now, while we're listening to the show, there's also a special for everyone listening to Cattitude. It's for a limited time. So act quickly because it's not going to be there forever. And as Anna said, the early adopters have an even better value based in because there's not going to be any fee for updated reports for forever, for the lifetime of your kitty. So that's another plus. And is there anything else you wanted to mention?
I want to mention one more thing. A big part of what we do has to do with learning about new disease. And we have a new initiative on our page called Research. Research is we are looking to recruit kitties to help us pioneer new feline medicine and new feline genetics. And there are kitties out there, and I'm sure there are pet parents listening right now that have cats that have specific health conditions. We explain on our website under the research tab what those health conditions are. And there are kitties that might have asthma or kitties that might have PKD. And we give away our kit for free. And we continue to work with you for free for the life of your kitty, just so we can have your kitty sample. Those samples of cats that are sick are really important to us because that is how we learn more about the genetics of cats that develop those diseases. So in exchange for a little bit of saliva of a cat that might have diabetes or might have HCM, we are more than happy to provide a free report and free updates. So I encourage, if your listeners think that their cat might fall, and that we have a whole list of conditions that fit, if you think your cat might fall in this list of conditions, I urge you to go on our website, go into the research tab and apply and get a free kit from us and free updates forever.
Okay, that's fabulous that you're doing that. And I really, as you were describing some of the things, I don't get this all the time, but I got little goosebumps because what Base Paws is all about, it's not just, yes, you want to keep growing and all of that in your business, but you're doing so much more than that. You're really becoming kind of like the cornerstone of feline health in a way, because you're doing so much for the research, for all these genetic diseases, and like you described, your database, and you're really just doing just so much for the feline world. So just a huge thank you for all you're doing, because it's really making a difference, I'm sure, in millions of cats' lives and pet parents' lives to know all of these different genetic health markers and what the makeup of their kitty is, so that they can bond with their cat better, understand their cat better, and whatever else you're going to find in the future. So huge thank you.
Yeah, no, I know this is a really important part of my life and the people that work with us. We have a lot of lovers of pets on the team. We do this because we love what we're doing. Many of us can go and work on other projects in big companies and probably make way more money but we choose to do this because we really believe in this. These are our babies, these pets are our babies. We want to dedicate our lives to making their lives better.
Well, thank you for all you do. Okay, quick question, which I'm sure everyone listening is probably, I wonder how many, I don't know if you have kitties in your office because you're in a lab, but how many kitties are there with everybody all together? About
Sure.
How many, what's the number?
Great question. Yes, we do.
In Compass Leon have 40 kitties or something, or?
So we have a 5-person management team and we have 9 cats in between the 5 of us. That's what we say. We're a small company. We have only about 9 people in total working for us. We do have some dog owners, which, we are non-discriminant against all animals. But between the 5 people that really manage and run the company, there's 9 kitties. And we had 10, but most? One passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Who is the most?
Kristen has the most. She had 6.
Oh, my goodness.
She has 5 now. Yeah. We had one pass away very recently, about a month and a half ago.
Oh, so sorry to hear that. That's never easy. Oh. Well, Anna, thank you so much for coming on Cattitude and sharing all this great information by Base Paws. We wish you so much success in the future.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, what a fabulous show. This has got to be one of my favorite shows ever on Cattitude. So much interesting information, and I encourage you, go to the Base Paws site and check it out. The information you receive in the report is vast, and it is so helpful in understanding. Well, it's fun also, knowing that your cat is, part Maine Coon, part, tiger, and then, of course, the health markers, which are critical and very important to know. And so I would definitely encourage you to check that out and listen they have a special offer for Cattitude listeners. Go to www.basepaws.com and get 15% off the DNA kit with the promo code Cattitude. And make sure you order your Base Paws kit this year in 2019, because it's going to change next year, 2020. So you want to get it this year. I'd like to thank my crew, Dennis and Charlotte and Molly and Sammy and Jethro of kitties, that I need to probably do a test on all of them so I could figure them out and understand them a lot better. Thanks to my pooch crew, Zeus and Nikki, who they make sure the kitties are happy. And thanks to my guest, and thanks to, of course, everyone listening and making Cattitude one of the most popular podcasts out there. I'm so thrilled about this. So we work hard here to make sure that everything sounds great. We take such great pride guide in our editing to make sure everything's as clear as possible. My producer, Mark Winter, does a phenomenal job. He makes me and my guests sound so great all the time, so that everything is so much better for you, the listener, so you just hear us so much better. So huge thanks to Mark for doing what he does, and keep listening. We're going to have so many more great shows coming up.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.